What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. How's it going? This is In Stores This Week, the show where we talk about what's in stores this week. It's a catchy, smart title there we have. Normally, I am joined by the one and only cabbie hat wearing, knowing all sorts of things, Dan Wickline, but he has decided that he gets to take a vacation, and I do not. Don't worry, I'm going on vacation at the end of the week. But instead of Dan Wickline, I have decided to bring in some friends to talk about books. One of these friends you've already met before is the world-renowned vegetable-based podcast host, vegetable-based media person, Peapod, who is now voguing, I think is what that's called.
I think that's what the kids call it. It's voguing. It's all the rage in Europe.
And also joining us is comic book creator in his own right, podcaster, and all-around swell egg, Will Holland.
Oh, Kyle! Don't you dare be sour! Clap for your world-famous This Week in Comic Books and feel the power!
Well, I was going to ask where we're going to start, but I guess I know the answer.
God, that was so rad. Oh, yeah. Man. I popped.
I want it.
I mean, we could just start with the power of positivity.
That's right.
But welcome in, guys. So before we get started, why don't we take turns? We'll start with Will because he's not been on the show before. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and kind of your nerdy origin story. So, Will, do me a favor though. Turn your camera just slightly. Like to one side or the other, because you've got this really weird glare that's making you look like one of the dudes from Laverne and Shirley, Lenny or Squiggy.
Okay, I can't get rid of that. I think I have to do the light right over my head.
Right, it's probably the light above him.
So let me do this. Drop me out for a second.
Slide to your right. Better.
Let's slide to your left. No. Oh, sorry. I was doing the cha-cha slide. My bad.
Yeah, take it back now, y'all.
Over here.
I think that's good. Now it just looks like you've got this weird halo, but it's better than it coming down through the middle of your face.
Gotcha.
What up, Jason Soria? Go ahead, Will. Give us your origin story.
Okay, so real quick, my origin story is I've been a comic book fan since I could read, and so I've started creating my own comic books over time. And then as well, I've also had the honor and the privilege to work with CadetsCon in the past to be able to also go in and not only work with CadetsCon and different things to help make that happen and get behind the scenes of that, but also just an avid comic book fan and a person who writes and illustrates kind of from young to teen to anybody that can read books with different character things in it in some cases. And then as well, recently I've been working on a thing. I'm trying to get the Kickstarter, but it's been a little bit bumpy, but we're working on it.
Cool. And a pod?
And I'm a podcaster, yes. So I do conversations about ... as well. Basically, we get into a lot of geeky, nerdy stuff. Sometimes we have the opportunity to interview awesome guests. Recently had Sophie Campbell on, talking about her love turtles and how she got into that. We also talk about random pop culture stuff that happens during the weeks. So,
all right. And then Peapod, give everybody your credentials.
I mean, after that, I'm just some loud bald man who calls himself a vegetable, but I am a former radio personality. I am a podcaster. I am a music podcaster for the past 4 years with the On the Radar podcast that features music, interviews, studio performances from a Midwestern perspective. And when I'm not doing that, I'm also a pro wrestling commentator for Ruthless Pro Wrestling right out of the Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan areas as part of the color commentator team, as well as a podcaster for that, for the Ruthless Pro Wrestling podcast, interviewing and highlighting wrestlers of RPW and talking about our upcoming events. So yeah, that's what I do. And then I am just a giant nerd, as you can see in the background, of all the stuff, music, movies, comics, what have you. And glad to be a part of the experience once again with the great and all-powerful Kyle Northrop.
woohoo!
And I am Kyle Northrop, your host and tour guide.
And tremendous haircut aficionado.
Yes, I have.
The luscious life.
Yes. Yes.
But we will digress. And I guess we'll start with the thing. Should we start with our shared fandom or should we end with our shared fandom?
No, let's start. Let's kick it off.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to start with the greatest tag team of all time.
I still don't know if I agree with the greatest of all time, but definitely one of the greats.
I mean, it's up there for the modern era.
Yeah, modern era.
Greatest of all time because no other tag team has had their own cereal.
That is true. I don't see Legion of Doom having their own cereal.
Right. The Road Warriors never had the cereal.
Heart Foundation
NWO never had their own cereal.
You know, not even the Freebirds.
Right.
No.
They got the
DX.
our stick off it away.
Maybe the Four
DX
Horsemen
might have
had
had
condoms.
popsicles.
I don't know.
DX might have had popsicles for, suckers maybe, lollipops of some kind. But
Yeah,
they
maybe.
didn't have their own cereal. And the New Day
Just
has had their own cereals.
Who does?
with each of the fingers.
So this is WWE The New Day, Power of Positivity, #1 from Boom Studios. Written by Evan Narcissi and Austin Walker. Art by Emily Bayless. Who are the New Day? Kofi, Xavier, and Big E. 6-time WWE Tag Team Champions. The longest reign in WWE history. And a hell of a trombone player in Xavier Woods as well. You know the matches. You know the catchphrases. You think you know the New Day, but now discover the origins and struggles of these WWE superstars before that fateful day when they realize they're stronger together than apart and seize their place in WWE history. Writers who wrote Rise of the Black Panther, and Austin Walker, who wrote Friends at the Table, tag up with artist Daniel Bayless, who did MMPR, to reveal the untold story behind one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So...
It's quite impressive to see, and especially in the modern era of wrestling, seeing someone who's broken out into pop culture bigger than, it's not every day they see, a wrestler having their own cereal. You think of like The Rock and Stone Cold, maybe John Cena in the modern era in the last couple of decades, busting out and doing more stuff, outside of the world of wrestling. But the New Day has really not only has had a huge stay and still together to this day, at least part of them, if you're in a wrestling fan, they're on a couple of the members are on different shows now. But at the same point, like these guys are incredible on how much they have gone over from crowds and entertainment and wrestlers, and then they have their own podcasts, and that's all talking about like social and political issues. YouTube channel, it's really incredible. They have really, when you talk about like the millennial age of pro wrestling, these three are the faces of it.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to announce that they're retiring from wrestling and going into the pancake business. Like, we bought a chain of IHOPs. Like,
I need more pancakes. I'm more of a waffle guy, but hey, pancakes.
Well, can you just imagine somebody who's as high a flyer as Kofi Kingston owning an IHOP?
Yeah.
Now it's about hopping and something about jumping and
Yeah.
If nothing will ever hit the ground in that restaurant, like somebody drops a strip of bacon and it just floats.
Like that could be the shtick of the restaurant too. You have the waiters do these crazy things, these crazy Kofi-like spots. They bring you your food,
Yeah, they're throwing your pancakes out, and you just got to hold up your plate, and they hit it. Who knows?
I'll pay $15 for that per person. Hell yeah. Let's go.
I mean, there's already a place named Lambert's in like Missouri that does a home thrown roll. I mean, what's the next step up? Pancakes.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this: have you read the WWE books from Boom Studios, especially in my reference, back when Dennis Hopeless was writing them? And they had the whole Suplex City thing with Brock Lesnar and some of that kind of stuff.
I have a couple of the trades, and what's interesting is they did a series of backup stories with the New Day. At one point, I think they were traveling through time, and like they wrestled, like they were there when like Ric Flair was first getting into wrestling and all these different things, and like they had to wrestle a dinosaur apparently at one point during this, and like they merged together like via Captain Planet and formed this giant unicorn, and like the unicorn wrestled for them, and it was beautiful. I loved every minute of it.
I need to read all of this. That sounds incredible.
Come out to the ring and get in a fight with dudes in inflatable T-Rex costumes.
I was about to say that like I've read that like a lot of it's a little bit of like through the lens of like there's some stories, but it didn't like portray it on television. So there's a little bit of fiction to an already fictional kayfabe world of what wrestling is. But at the same time, like I feel like this sounds like it's their stories. And it's probably from their point of view, and then it's probably like more animated, at least with this New Day Power of Positivity comic. I'm guessing that it's more of just like it's already these characters, and then you're having caricatures of the characters that these people represent. So it's almost like a caricature of a caricature.
And they were also in different ways, like especially they talk about the story in the NXT comics that Boom does as well. Mm-hmm. They've talked about how Dusty, there's one book in particular where it's literally just Dusty centric. And Dusty is, there's a match with Kofi and Big E early on. And you just see Dusty at the end go, those boys right there, they got something special, but I think they're going to be special together, but they need one more person. Wonder who that could be. And it was kind of the way they wrote it, but also the fact that I do believe Dusty said that for real. Like he was just like, they need somebody else to play the straight man to them. And so it's kind of interesting that little bit of their story is in those NXT books.
You know what? I think what's the great thing about the New Day is that it goes back to the core of wrestling, and in my personal opinion, when it comes to pro wrestling, I've been a pro wrestling fan for a few decades now, and at the end of the day, pro wrestling should be fun. You can get as serious as you can. You can talk about the science and the technical wrestling and everything, but at the end of the day, these are larger than life personalities in very colorful clothing, hitting each other with steel chairs. Like at the end of the day, pro wrestling is fun, and what the New Day represents is that core idea of just like, this is fun, but these are great people to look up to. These are great heroes. These are people that you can tell that kids can have fun with, their parents can have fun with. It's not vulgar, but it's also a lot of fun. It hits, and they're good wrestlers too. But it's not too over the top that like a lot of the straight man wrestlers and like the territory days would like. It's a perfect storm of a lot of wrestling types and a lot of wrestling fans that you don't see all connect at the same time nowadays.
Right. I hope we get the story in here of the push that Kofi got, the Kofi Mania moment.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we get that story in at least one issue, maybe spread out over a couple. Because I feel like Kofi Mania in and of itself was very historic in a lot of ways.
I think it was a really big thing. I feel like it did not end the way it should have. I feel like it was super abrupt, but that's a discussion for another podcast for another day. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a fan of seeing great men and women put their art on display, and if that art can transcend the world of wrestling and go into different realms of pop culture, I think that's a success.
The story I want is the story of the time our associate producer here in the experience, JD, had to interview Big E when they were coming to town, and started off the interview by calling him Big D. So we stopped and restarted. It was a pre-record, so we stopped and restarted, and I slapped him across the face a couple times so Big E could know. But still,
well, and I mean,
that was awkward.
Could be worse. I mean, you could be talking about somebody talking about Bobby Ashley as opposed to Bobby Lashley, but that's another thing.
That's a whole other thing. All right, let's move on from there.
Oh, okay, I was going to tell you a quick story, but go on. We can do it for another time.
So, do we want to keep doing indie books, or should we go to Marvel or DC? You guys,
we're doing indie.
Let's go indie. Let's start an indie.
All right, let's start here. This is Blacksmith from Ahoy Comics. Blacksmith is meet Jeannie Strummer Jones, just an ordinary werewolf PI, trying to make it on the mean streets of LA. Okay, sure.
Yes, I'm for it.
Werewolf PI.
I love indie books. It's just so off the wall, and I'm just okay, yes.
Wait till I tell you who wrote it, Peapod, and it's going to make a lot of sense to you.
Oh, man.
When the case of a lifetime falls into her lap, it's up to her and her charming Jin assistant, Ben Silat, to figure out how many silver bullets have been used and just where the silver bullets came from anyway. A new horror series from writer, name redacted, and artist Wendell Cavalcanti, with lush covers by Liana Kangas of True Cult. Every Ahoy book comes with extra prose stories and illustrations. Issue 1 features a stunning cover by Jamal Igle. Do you want to take a guess at why I'm redacting the name of the writer, Peapod?
Well, I can read it on top. It says Palicki.
Yeah, it's Eric Palicki, who's a friend of ours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's right up his alley. I love it.
it. Werewolf PI, great. What is Michael J. Fox's character from American Werewolf in London?
Michael J. Fox American Werewolf in London, or
Teen Wolf? Teen Wolf. They're all the same movie. They're werewolves in places they shouldn't be.
It's Michael J. Fox in the 80s. It all blends together. Whatever.
Yeah. But, Magnum P. Werewolf, I mean, sure.
With a Jin sidekick.
Yes, that dude's a genie. So, Eric Palicki, done it again. I'm going to have to text him tonight and be like, really? You schmuck? Really? You weren't going to tell me?
I love the wordplay of the title, with it being Blacksmith instead of Blacksmith.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I do love that wordplay going on there.
It's clever.
Yeah. So, this is, the thing I like about Ahoy books is that they always come with extra prose stories and extra pages in the back. And in this one in particular, they're prose stories that relate to, in every one, they relate to the main story.
Okay. So
you get bonus content in every book. And again, it's our friend Eric Palicki, who you know from Atlantis Wasn't Built for Tourists, and This Nightmare Kills Fascists, and No Angel, which he wrote with his sister Adrian, who you know as the first mate from the Orville, and Mockingbird on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I Still Feel Real Carl and our Adrian, but that's her name now. So, it's one of those things that this is a little bit of a homer pick for me. But it's a book that I'm very excited to read because I love Eric and I think he's a great writer.
I can dig it. I love it already. It's weird and wacky, but without being too weird and wacky. It hits it, as the kids say, it hits different. So I like it.
Yeah. It passes the vibe for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All
Vibe
right,
checks, yes.
We're gonna go from definitely not for kids to totally for kids. In Mamo, which is a book from Boom Studios and Boombox. Boom Studios is proud to showcase an incredible artistic vision of Sass Millage. Can Orla O'Reilly embrace her destiny in order to bridge the divide between humanity and the fairy world? Orla, the youngest in a long line of hedge witches, finds herself pulled back to her hometown after the death of her grandmother, Mamo. Without Mamo managing the magical relationship between the townsfolk and the Fae, the seas are impossible to fish, the crops have soured, and Joe Manilow's attic has been taken over by a poltergeist. Now Orla and Joe will both be pulled into the worlds they never want to be part of. Can the two girls work together to save the town? Sass Millage, who wrote The Lost Carnival, a Dick Grayson graphic novel, debuts her first original series, perfect for fans of The Last Witch and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that answers the question, how will we all reconcile our responsibilities with our dreams of our own future?
It's kind of a heavy subject for a kid's book.
Yeah, I mean, it's an all ages book, I suppose, what you would technically call it. But Boombox is all ages, everyone friendly comics. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of, fairies and witches and being written by not Neil Gaiman. I love Neil Gaiman.
He's kind of cornered the market on that one.
Yeah, but that's kind of his bread and butter, and somebody else taking a pass at it, to me, is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
There's and I can't think of the name of it right now, but there was a DC book that was for all ages, kind of a young adult graphic novel type thing, where there was a girl who her powers are based on different colors of paint.
Oh.
And depending on what paint she was using at a particular time, she had the power associated with that color. And I can't think of the name of it, but the backdrop was crazy. Dad was a criminal in the DC world, and he was kind of doing his own thing and getting arrested and all this other stuff. And so she's it's like her and her mom, and her mom's kind of dealing with the fact that stuff isn't working the way she thought it was. And then this little girl is kind of having to deal with the weight of all of that, and then finding out she has powers. And we're talking maybe I think she might be 10 or 11-ish in this book, maybe preteen, teenager. But so I do like the juxtaposition of dealing with heavy subject matter in an all ages book, because I feel like there are a lot of kids in the world around us that they get some pretty heavy stuff laid on them quick.
Yep.
So
I feel like if they get some of that information from something that is still can be, for lack of a better term, candy coated, and fun, candy coated, and but still can talk about the subject matter without making it feel preachy. I think this is also fun. Plus, getting kids to read more comics, I'm always all for. I think this is an excellent avenue to explore.
Yeah, I agree. Anything like this where you can deal with a heavy subject in a way that isn't scary to kids, that doesn't overwhelm them, is a good way to do it. And so understanding responsibility, understanding your role in your family, all that kind of stuff, which is stuff kids actually struggle with, tackling that in this book certainly seems like a worthwhile cause. So we'll go on. We got to take a break here in just a couple minutes, but we'll do one more not for children's book. We'll just ping back and forth between the two for a minute here, and this is from American Mythology Press, Adam Green's Hatchet. As you can guess,
he's having a bad day, it seems.
Yeah, unstoppable horror. This is written by James Corrick, with covers by Vincenzo Corrado and Cyrus Messarcia.
Bless you.
Yeah. That was a difficult last name. I apologize. So the tales of Victor Crowley have always been terrifying, but now American mythology opens the door to an even darker path as we deliver 3 new stories steeped in grueling horror. A creature of pure rage and evil, Victor Crowley savagely defends his remote swamp home, teaching the true meaning of despair to interlopers of his domain before tearing them horribly asunder. But not only is Victor Crowley a hideous, murderous monster, he just won't die, as we'll see in these 3 unique stories that highlight the unstoppable supernatural nature of Victor Crowley. These tales are not for the faint of heart and reveal the true darkness within the monster haunting Honey Island Swamp. Hatchet Unstoppable Horror #1 comes with 3 covers and is a limited 1 in 350 bloody horror variant. So the deal with this, and the reason I threw this book on the cover, or I threw this book on the list, is that what AMP, American Mythology Press, does is they take these super odd stories and otherwise not sought after. Otherwise, I don't want to say not sought after, but not mainstream IPs, and let them develop at their own pace. So they've done a couple of their Victor Crowley miniseries prior to this. So it's a character that they've developed over time, but they don't try and do like big, long, ongoing arcs. They'll do 3, 4, 5 issues and then walk away. They'll do, and they'll take a break. And then they'll come back in a year or 6 months or whatever when they've got the next story ready. So they let it develop kind of its own pace. They're not trying to force it on anybody, not trying to, have writers put out stories that aren't well thought out and well developed. The other thing I like about these things is that, American mythology, literally, they'll publish the Three Stooges one week and this the next. They are a publisher, and I say this in the best way, that has ADHD. So I to see their horror imprints kind of growing and becoming more popular, to see their comedy imprints and their licensed IP and their public domain IP all growing in a way is good. It's something I enjoy. So
I think sometimes it's not a bad thing to have an ADHD when you have a product line. I mean, it explores to see like what does well, and there's something for a little bit for everybody. And then you could start developing and kind of tailor and like kind of trim the fat and see what works and what doesn't. So I think something like this, of like doing a couple of issues on like this style and then switching completely out and doing a different style, I think it kind of works well.
Right. Absolutely.
It definitely feels like the ultimate get these kids off my lawn moment. When you're talking about somebody who is just like, he will not die. He doesn't want his stuff messed with. He wants to be left alone.
So it's like Shrek.
And then he just starts wailing on fools.
It's like Shrek if Shrek was a murderous demon.
Yeah. Yeah. The internet loves Shrek.
Have you guys seen the Shrek? Okay, hold on. We got to take a break.
We got
to go to break. Have you guys seen the new Shrek fan theories?
Maybe. I think I'm afraid.
Dark.
Oh, it's dark? Okay.
Like if you pay attention to stuff that's happening in the background, a lot of these fairy tale characters that are Shrek's friends are being killed throughout the movie, and Shrek doesn't notice.
Oh, wow.
It's one of those theories, isn't it? I hate and I love these at the same time, just because I feel like it's just like the idea of just like, oh, so-and-so is really the villain, or such and such is actually a dream. Yeah.
It's that we don't know, but there's a dark other story being told in the background. Like Shrek is a story we're supposed to tell. Shrek is not a bad guy.
No.
But there's another bad guy we don't know about. Or Lord Farquaad is actually far worse than we think.
Wow.
Like,
it kind of reminds me of the thing about Phineas and Ferb I saw recently where they were talking about the fact that Phineas and Ferb, the sister is the only one that like her brother has been dead since before the series started. And so the reason why the kids are at the age they're at is because she remembers him at that age and they don't technically grow up due to the fact that they passed away. It's weird. I'm not going to say I believe it, but Mama Bear and the rug. Look it up. Oh, dear.
Excuse me? It's like Jar Jar being a Sith. Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I like the theory that Lord Farquaad is just way worse than they let us on to believe. Like, so what winds up happening to him is like really the best case scenario. So, by the way, there's a new pressing of the Shrek soundtrack out on vinyl, where it's the disc.
What a sentence!
The disc is green,
of course,
and I gotta have it. Just throwing it out there. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back after I try and buy vinyl on the internet. Welcome back in the internet. I am Kyle, otherwise known as one of the Not Nicks, which is a thing for tomorrow's show at 6 o'clock. It's Comics Collectibles with Rex and the Not Nicks, of which I am one. We've got Dynamic Forces Greatness tomorrow night at 6 o'clock coming to you, and if we get drunk with power or any other kind of stuff that you can get drunk off of, you might be able to get some really good deals. So we'll see. Joining me again this week's show, as Dan is on vacation, is plant-based podcaster Peapod and Will Holland, who has a pretty cool job. Also, he is our head booker here on The Experience, which means he's responsible for making sure we have guests, and he's also the person who'll get yelled at for not booking me Eric Palicki, even though he didn't know we wanted him.
Well, now he does. You got to will it into the universe.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
See?
We can continue the will.
No, well, I'd control the show. I could take over the show, but he has all the controls in the comics, so he has the photos, so he can't really control.
Kyle came in the clutch, man. Yeah, he came back. It was a wonderful thing.
All right.
And it always rises to the top. Yeah.
This dude rules. Holy crap. This is awesome.
We went from let's go from one horror comic to another horror comic.
Is this the Christmassy one?
No. This is the one that I most wish I had drawn the cover for, even though I have no art experience. Just because, I'll be real honest, the logo for this book is everything.
Okay.
All right.
This is from Scout Comics and Black Caravan. This is Tales Told in Technicolor or Techno Horror.
I love that. I love that cover.
Yes, Tales Told in Techno Horror.
Wow.
That is
and I'm going to pull it up here real quick. There is a 1 in 10 variant that I think is even cooler.
Oh, my.
Give me just a second to get that loaded up. while I read you the information about this book. Thought I could do both at the same time. Turns out I can't because I am not that smart.
He sure is pretty, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that ain't true either. Okay, Black Caravan Infinite. Tales Told in Techno Horror is a biennial horror series that blends the best in horror subgenres, body shock to grindhouse and more. Each issue contains 5 short stories from the dark minds that brought you Provenance of Madness. Includes a mini pinup gallery of horrors. I think this cover is cooler than the regular cover.
Ooh, that is cool.
But it's written by Kieran Tagan with art by Christian Dabari from Scout Comics. Like I said, I love horror comics. I do. Some people say there's too much horror comics coming out right now. I say there could never be enough.
Bah.
I like books that wig you out a little. As much as I love traditional superheroes and I love a good guy beating a bad guy story, I love stories that keep me up at night. If only because then it forces me to work more. And billable hours, man. I'm an independent contractor. So, no, the thing about horror books for me is they get to explore places that traditional books don't really get to. Yeah, they get to go into those dark recesses of the brain that you don't let anybody see. And then they get to come out on a page and freak out other people because other people's brain is like, yeah, I can see that. So, by the way, if you're a fan of The Red Room, which is the most, pardon my French, the most effed up comic coming out right now, this book also for you, man. So,
I like it.
You could be a fan of multiple horror things, and it's okay.
It's true. Horror for me is like, I don't know, bread and butter, milk and cookies, blood and guts,
chicken and waffles,
pancakes and professional wrestling.
Pancakes, professional wrestling, yeah.
I don't know that I want chicken and waffles with somebody getting their head lopped off. I'm just saying. Like, I feel like one would take me out of the mood with the other.
I've seen it. I've seen
it. Would not be cool with that at their chicken and waffles restaurant.
No, it's not. And now I'm just hungry.
No.
I think that's why I just said it because I was just
hungry.
Yeah,
it's true. I'm hungry too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think even Ron Swanson would dig that idea of chicken and waffles and a murder in the midst of it.
I'm worried that what you heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Yeah. I have that on a T-shirt.
He does.
Actually, my Facebook profile picture.
Yeah.
Oh, I have. I just haven't mentioned it yet.
I also just got it in. It's Kevin with the chili done in the style of Mario from the and I have another one coming. That says, I feel God in this Chili's tonight.
Oh, yes.
In the style of, Michelangelo's David, where he's reaching out to touch God, but where God's hand is, it's the Chili's logo.
I would love to actually do a cartoon version of the scene in Community where you have Chang dressed as the Drow from the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons episode.
That'll never happen because that episode's been pulled.
I'm aware.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And just have over in the corner have a word balloon. Shirley not being in scene, but her just saying, "Oh, so we're just gonna let this hate crime happen."
Okay. If I had to pick one from Community, it would definitely be the one where Dean is dressed as Uncle Sam.
Oh wow, yeah.
That would be one, or the one where Jeff Winger has to play pool naked. Just just a shot of like him holding his underwear, going, "Is this man enough for you?"
Wow, yeah.
Oh man, so many good Community episodes that could be.
I do have a Troy and Abed in the morning coffee mug.
You have what?
Troy and Abed in the morning.
Yes,
Troy and Abed in the morning. All right, back to comics. This is Tart, Toxic Origins #1, also from Scout Comics.
Very David Bowie-esque.
It is.
Actually, that guy looks like a wrestler from the UK, and I got to look it up, but continue.
Written by Kevin Joseph, art by Ludovic Sal. Tart Acid was once just like them, a frightened soul learning that hell exists, and that she could play a part in protecting Earth's history from demonic intervention. Now, she is the guide for 3 new recruits, explaining how her band of time-traveling demon hunters ended up risking their immortal souls to stand against the forces of hell. Come along as some of the mysteries of the toxic universe are revealed in Tart Toxic Origins #1.
Looks ruby like that.
Hadouken!
Well, I mean, that's different. That's more like, you're locking and loading that thing.
No, you know what it is? I figured it out. From here, it's Morphin time.
I'm thinking Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's fair.
That's little air balls.
Have you figured out who it is yet?
Yeah, I forgot his name. He's a UK wrestler that he looks like exactly that style, and
but it does have that David Bowie kind of labyrinthian sort of style.
So there's a wrestler in the UK that looks almost exactly like that, named Cara Noir, CARANOIR, 2 words, and it looks exactly like that. I don't know if you could quickly pull up a photo and then compare it to that, but that immediately, that's where my mind went. But then again, I'm a wrestling nerd, so that's where my mind went. But
I've got a picture of it. I do say his stuff. Well, I mean, of course, what I'm seeing so far, his stuff's a lot darker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely some inspiration, but like I said, I feel like this is more Bowie.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it screams Bowie, obviously, and I'm sure the Cara Noir character from the UK is inspired by Bowie. Bowie's such Bowie's such a caricature. We talk about caricatures and characters that expand just one world of pop culture, and become something like this. David Bowie was one of them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on from this to another horror book. This one is actually not out this week. It was supposed to be, but it has been delayed.
Yep, I saw that earlier.
This is The Lot from Bad Idea. I'm one of a few people who knows what's going on in this book, so I'm very excited about it. Solicitation wise, we won't really talk about it because I want people to. I want to be able to talk about it when it does come out. But just know it's written by Marguerite Bennett. Should I read the solicitation or should I not?
Well, you got to tell people why we need to read it.
Well,
it doesn't come out. We'll talk about it when it actually comes out.
Okay. It actually comes out.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this story. Do you know the story of when they were making Psycho? The way they marketed the film Psycho?
No.
Alfred Hitchcock?
I've heard it, but not really.
So the film Psycho casts this big, huge star and doesn't tell anybody it's a big, huge star. Spoilers, if you've not seen the original Psycho, okay? It's been out for like 125 years. Right. So, they cast a big star as the lead, and he dies 5 minutes in. And they refuse to show anyone anything from the movie. All they just said was, "You're not going to believe your eyes. It's more than you've expected. It's much darker and more twisted than anything you've ever seen on screen before. It includes a shower, which is verboten."
Verboten.
Right. So this is that. Think of this book like that. Nothing that you've ever expected. Okay. I want to talk about this more, but out of respect for Bad Idea and not telling anyone about what's going into the book, I don't want to tell anyone what's going on in the book.
But there is another Bad Idea book we can talk about.
Right. Which is this one, which is Sleigh Bells. Down in the workshop, all the elves are making toys for the good Gentile girls and the good Gentile boys. When the boss busted in, they scared him half to death. Had a rifle in his hand, cheap whiskey on his breath. From his beard to his boots, he was covered with ammo, like a big fat drunk, disgruntled Yuletide Rambo. Okay.
Oh, keep going.
No,
I've heard this song, but I'm trying to remember the title.
The Night Santa Went Crazy by Weird Al Yankovic.
Okay, there we go.
Written by this is Sleigh Bells from Bad Idea, written by Zeb Wells, with art by David LaFuente.
I love
You've
it.
heard of black comedies? Well, this is the first one that's not just black, but also red and green and covered in reams of extremely flammable tinsel that's already banned in Canada.
I love it.
Every Christmas Eve, little Bobby Hamilton and his father rise at dawn for an early morning hunting trip. It was their favorite tradition until they accidentally killed a certain red-nosed reindeer.
Oh, gosh, no.
They should have known better.
No.
They shouldn't have tried to cover it up because Santa Claus knows that they've been naughty. And now, like so many fragile Christmas ornaments on a violently shaken tree, the Yuletide peace and quiet of a Midwestern farming hamlet will forever be shattered as old St. Nick comes to town to reap the sweetest gift of all, vengeance.
Of course, somebody in the Midwest kills somebody from Santa's crew. Of course.
Right? This July, Emmy Award winner Zeb Wells of Hellions and Robot Chicken, mischief-making artist, all-star David LaFuente of Ultimate Spider-Man, and colorist Ulysses Arola, who did Action Comics, are ready to ruin Christmas a solid 6 months in advance with the only thing we really wanted this year anyway, another big king-sized Bad Idea one-shot that will soon go down in infamy.
I'm for it.
So
I love it.
My question.
The night Santa went crazy.
So if we get this as a movie at some point, with it being a one-shot, can we please cast Mel Gibson and just consider this a second part to the Fat Man movie?
No, but if you're looking for something in this vein, Kurt Russell has done a series of films.
He has, but
He has.
family-friendly-ish. Fat Man is not family-friendly-ish at all.
So we just continue that and just make it darker.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Idea. Fat Man. Sleigh Bells.
I just don't even. I can't even. This is
I love it. I think it's wild and it's off kilter, and let's do it. Let's
so many
Psychopath
Santa.
Santa.
Bad Idea, but I've yet to have a Bad Idea book I didn't like. And as everyone knows, I don't like much. So like something somewhere is amiss. Either everybody getting down on Bad Idea is wrong, or I am truly the most effed up individual on the planet. My guess is that it's somewhere in the middle. At least that's what my therapist would have me to believe.
Well, I'm into it because of the artwork. When I saw the artwork, and I was just like, this is beautiful in a very terrible way.
All right.
Dabble into Santa Claus lore myself. I've written a couple of books about Santa Claus. My version of Santa Claus, a little bit different, but yeah, I get it. I dig it.
Yours is Santa Claus is a ninja, right?
Obviously, Santa's a spy.
Okay.
Yeah, duh.
Mm-hmm.
James Bond ain't got nothing on Santa.
Nah.
Fun fact, my wife and I have made an annual tradition since we've been together to watch all three of the Santa Clauses in December before Christmas.
I'm sorry.
So,
Are you saying I'm sorry? Are you saying I'm sorry because I watch?
That third one's real bad.
Third one is bad. The second one is the best one.
The first and second one are good.
They're both, yeah. The first and second one are good. I love the story of the second one because the first one, like Tim Allen is such a a jerk into it that you kind of like the tale of him like softening his heart and becoming like more into Christmas. But the second one, I just love how like he has to like woo the person that he ends up finding the Mrs. Claus with. So if you haven't watched any of the Santa Clauses,
which one is
the one with Martin Short?
Yeah, Martin Short.
The third one.
Yeah,
which Martin Short. Yeah, but that one's terrible. Don't get me wrong, but Martin Short was tremendous in.
Yes, let's replace in your tradition. I urge you to replace that with the Hebrew Hammer.
Oh God, I love the Hebrew Hammer.
I've not seen the Hebrew Hammer, but
oh man, it's so good.
Tonight. You'll text me later. You'll thank me later.
Do it.
Fair enough.
It's not even close to Hanukkah.
There's a part in there that you're going to be, oh my God, I want to write this comic.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's a Jewish shaft. That's literally what it is.
Okay, that's all I needed. I'm hooked.
But he teams up with a group that's trying to save Kwanzaa.
Oh wow!
And they are. By the way, there's another one coming.
No
They're
way.
making a sequel to the Hebrew Hammer. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh man.
Me and my buddies the other day were talking about the best hot chocolate representation of Santa Claus movies.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Hey, the worst is Jingle All the Way. Worst representation of hot chocolate.
Yeah. Well, Jingle All the Way is a terrible film. So
of course, with all the hype around F9 right now, Fast 9, it's like, one thing we've not gotten is a fast Christmas movie. I need a fast.
They're
Christmas
listening.
movie where Tim Allen is playing Santa again, but they're having to deal with Santa because somehow or another Dom's kid accidentally gets kidnapped by Santa without Santa knowing. So that Dom and them have to go.
No. Tim Allen as Santa Claus can't give the sleigh any more power because of his history as Tim the Toolman Taylor. So he comes to the Fast and the Furious team to give his sleigh more power so that he can get everywhere he needs to get, including somehow into outer space, because they can do that in cars now. I'm not going to talk about this movie anymore. Let's get back to comics.
Okay.
Why aren't we making this? I'm in. I'll give you the money. Let's go.
I hate those movies.
I love this. I love this. Let's go.
I hate those movies more than I hate being called late to dinner. Like
that's true.
Oh, goodness.
I hate those movies.
Hey, family.
That's right. It's all about family.
The one movie was literally just let's get all the Rock's cousins SAG cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's when it lost the plot. Okay. Speaking of bad things, how about The Worst Dudes?
Oh, hey, I remember this book.
The
Worst Dudes by Aubrey Sitterson and Tony Gregory from Dark Horse Comics. Despite the best efforts of moral scolds and anyone with a sense of decency, the raunchiest, most despicable sci-fi mystery in the universe cannot be stopped.
Oh dear.
In this issue, full frontal nudity on the very first page. From known scoundrels, Aubrey Sitterson, no one left to fight, and the comic book story of professional wrestling, which was amazing. And Tony Gregory, Deuce of Hearts, and Karma Police. Look, warning: this book contains onerous language, wanton drug use, willful violence, unabashed lechery, and generally loathsome behavior.
Sounds like my Friday night.
Heyo! These
Thank
books. You. The first book was just hysterical. Just a great fun romp. And the sci-fi was decent too. I would have been good with the sci-fi being bad in this book because the rest of it was so hysterical. But no, they brought the hammer and they brought you great sci-fi too.
I need to read this book.
Yes, you do.
I did love No One Left to Fight. That's for certain. It felt like the old grizzled version of Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
I actually became during the pandemic. I became starting to become like watch all of Dragon Ball Z, and I was watching all of Dragon Ball Super because I'm going in storyline order. And now now I want to watch Dragon Ball GT because I'm just obsessed with the Super Saiyan 4 story and the look and everything. But I know like a lot of people like poo-poo GT, and I know the story about GT. But then also in Japan, they're making an anime based on a card video game that has like it's not canon, but at the same time, like there's a lot of cool things happening that they reference from the past series and put it all together, and it's off the wall. It's like fan fiction come to life. It's great.
Like I think it's Dragon Ball Heroes Saga.
It's Super Dragon Ball Heroes. You could probably find people have fan subbed it online on YouTube, and it's quite incredible. They take like all the parts and a lot of the characters, and then throw in some new characters from Dragon Ball and DBZ and Super Dragon Ball and GT, and they like just throw it in a blender and just throw it out there, and it's ridiculous, and it's fan servicey, and it's just obnoxious, and I love it.
I'll be honest, Dragon Ball Gran Turismo was my least favorite Dragon Ball. But
I'm a fan of I'm a fan of Dragon Ball.
Day of Dragon Ball is better than the worst day of other things.
It's true.
The best day of other things. So, okay. I'm gonna cover this book real quick because there's not a whole lot to talk about here. This is Rivers of London, Monday, from Titan Comics. If you've read any of the other Rivers of London stories, this continues them. This is Aaron Cartmel and Ben Aronovich. So basically, it's a brand new era in the life of our favorite full-time cop, part-time wizard, Peter Grant. A werewolf is on the loose, and will stop at nothing to avoid capture. It's up to Peter and his cohort of chums to hunt the deadly lycanthrope and bring him to justice. The thing you guys need to know is that this series is written by people who write Doctor Who.
Ooh.
So
wait. Which Doctor Who?
Ben Aronovich and Doctor Who's script editor Andrew Cartmel. They've worked on Doctor Who for several years. Not just Jodie Whittaker. Put it that way.
Okay.
Anyhow.
I'm not one of those Whovians that didn't like Jodie Whittaker. Actually, I haven't seen all of Jodie Whittaker. I saw the first season and it wasn't bad. I always chalk it up with like when there's a new Doctor, I always know the first season there's like growing pains. Unless your name's David Tennant, then whatever.
So the Rivers of London stuff, just so you guys know, are these supernatural sci-fi mysteries set in London. So it's a very Britishy book.
Cool.
If you haven't read any of the Rivers of London stuff, I recommend you go back, pick some of it up before you dive into this. And then we'll come back with we've got a few more indies, and we got a whole hour. We got a few more indies. We got Marvel and DC still to hit. We'll be back in just about a minute and a half here on The Experience. Click the buttons, Kyle. Come on.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Welcome back to the internet. It's Kyle. Do me a favor. Head over to TikTok. You saw we made a TikTok video there. We showed you a TikTok video there. But head over to the Tickety Talks and follow us on TikTok at _EXP1. That's the same name you can follow us on the Instagrams as well. We're all trying to get TikTok famous. Not really working. So if you go over and follow us, that might help. I don't know. Peapod's laughing at me trying to become TikTok famous. But he's named after a vegetable.
I love the most boomer style of response of just trying to hype us up. Just like, follow us on the TikToks.
Kyle,
I said
we made a TikTok. Go watch it.
Here's how we do it. We apparently have to have a song, create a dance that everybody robs, and then at some point it points back to us.
All right. Well, that's your job now. Come up with a TikTok dance.
Created TikTok.
We're just
and
right now,
also, you got to sing a shanty. That's the hip thing right now. And then make a really weird food thing.
The shanty trend is over.
About to say, I'm not doing a shanty.
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy of Tea. No, I'm kidding. That was the shanty that really went viral. I prefer other shanties, but we're not going to get into my shanty preferences because I have very strong opinions.
I like summer.
That's shandies. They're different. I prefer, ice fishing shanties as opposed to sea shanties, shanty houses as opposed to sea shanties. No, I'm kidding. I have very strong sea shanty preferences, and we could lose a whole hour. Follow us on TikTok. Last month was favorite DC characters. The month before was favorite Marvel characters. This month, favorite Image characters. And I'm really struggling to come up with one because I prefer Image stories, not necessarily the characters. So I'm struggling on how I don't just be like Spawn.
So I got a question. If I want to do a video for said thing, do I need to get on the TikToks and record a video for who my favorite?
No, I will tell you how, Will. We'll talk after.
Gotcha.
But yes, follow us on the Tickety Talks.
Do my little Vogue dance while I'm talking about my favorite Image character over here.
But since we're talking about Image, maybe we should talk about Image books that are out this week.
Sure, yeah.
By the way, the guy who wrote for Doctor Who apparently wrote for the 64 series Remembrance of the Daleks.
There you go.
Oh, man.
So
wait, isn't that coming out as an animated film? I just read something about that. Like one of the
they're doing a bunch of stuff, animated stuff, which I'm really
because like a lot of the lost footage or whatever.
New audiobooks with the actual doctors as doing stage plays. So super fun. Okay. So from Image Comics, The Good Asian number 2. So this is by the person with my favorite name in comics. Pornsack Pishante.
Excuse me?
Yep, that's his name.
Oh god.
He's got a great name, but he's an incredible writer.
Woo.
The surprises really begin as Hark encounters Lucy Fong's completely different perspective on Chinatown. One pivotal to stopping the Hatchet Man on the loose. So this book feels like a pulp radio play, a la The Spirit, The Shadow, that kind of stuff. Set in Chinatown in LA in the 20s and 30s. This is a really interesting take, created by an Asian creative team about Asian Americans at a time when the kind of underground stories for Asian Americans are sort of lacking. even though the actual history of it is not. So
I do like noir.
yeah, it's super noir-y. You just imagine like the Humphrey Bogart voice. You know, she walked into my office, see, and
Yeah, she.
I was busy paying attention to my empty bottle of scotch.
You gotta hear that. Talking to the people, and all of a sudden a guy busted in the office claiming the dame was his dame.
All right, his dame, she. Yeah. All right. Also from Image Comics this week, and this is a book I really wanted to talk about because this book is high up on my list. Ordinary Gods #1.
Okay.
Ordinary Gods is written by Kyle Higgins. Not high on my list because we share a first name, but high on my list because Kyle Higgins is amazing.
Yes,
Art
he is.
by Felipe Watanabe. And you have covers from the likes of Matt Wilson, Dave Johnson, Rod Reese, Dan Panosian, Nicholas Scott, and Declan Shelby. Oh, plus Tula Latoy. One of the Ordinary Gods. I gotta pull this cover up for you guys. Let me load this real fast. So, Ordinary Gods, for the fans of the old guard and God Country, comes this extra-length first issue of a century-spanning action epic from writer Kyle Higgins of Radiant Black and artist Felipe Watanabe of The Flash. The Luminary, the Prodigy, the Brute, the Trickster, the Innovator. 5 gods from a realm beyond our own, leaders in the War of Immortals, at least they were, before they were trapped. Sent to a planet, made into a prison, forced into an endless cycle of human death and reincarnation. Christopher is 22. He's got 2 loving parents and a 12-year-old sister. He works at a paint store. He's in therapy. He's one of the 5. Which means in order to save everyone he cares about, Christopher will have to reconnect with his past lives and do the unthinkable, become a god again.
Oh, I like that.
So this is one of the covers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hey, Blinken.
This is the Rod Reese Things from Another World exclusive. There's also a really cool Declan Shelby variant for in this issue comics. Let me throw that one up here real fast.
I'm sorry, I see that picture, and I hope that there's a moment where Abraham Lincoln is surrounded by like 24 people.
I like vampires.
Straight up, like kung fu, unmerciless, like presidential style kung fu, just whoops everybody.
I don't know if this is actually true, but allegedly that Abraham Lincoln was a wrestling champion.
He was.
He
wrestled bears.
Which, I mean, other than Daniel Bryan, not many people I know wrestle bears.
But this is the Declan Shelby variant.
Like that symbol.
God, I like that.
I just
right. But you'll notice at the top it says Kusanoki.
You are struggling with names today.
Well, it's a very Japanese name. 1924 to 1330 or 1294 to 1336. On this one, Abraham Lincoln, and it has his life dates. So I'm guessing that all of these people have been these gods in previous lives.
So it's like Avatar, the last Airbender, mixed with like the new gods.
I think it's more like new gods mixed with
Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap.
Yeah, a little bit Quantum Leap, maybe a little bit Berserker.
Yeah, I'm thinking because of the whole idea that he was attached to these and he didn't realize it. He's just a normal person who has to reconnect.
Mm-hmm. All right. So from Dynamite, we have 2 very interesting stories this week.
Dynamite.
I was thinking that too.
One of them is about a porn star, and the other one is about a porn star. And by that, I mean neither of that is true. We have Betty Page, Curse of the Banshee #2. This is a Merritt Michaels cover. But this is Betty Page as written by Stephen Mooney. I got to pull up the information here. Give me just a second. My computer just flipped out.
My dad got in trouble one time over having a bunch of Betty Page magazines. My uncle and he used to switch comic books and stuff a lot. And so my uncle apparently got a hold. He was in the military. So he got a bunch of the old Betty Page picture books. And so my mother came in one day because we would go in the bag and grab Iron Fist and different old school books. And so apparently mom was not happy with the fact that she found these Betty Page books where she's scantily clad in my dad's possession.
So Betty Page, number 2, or The Curse of the Banshee, number 2, the pinup queen of adventure is back. Dynamite Entertainment proudly presents Betty Page and The Curse of the Banshee, an all-new Betty Page series under the guidance of writer Stephen Mooney, ably assisted by artist Jet Morales, and a host of incredible cover artists, cosplay goddesses, and the queen of the pinup herself, Betty Page. In issue 2, things are not as they appear to be in Ireland as Betty comes face-to-face with the mysterious Banshee. But with her ability to alter its shape, the Banshee continues to prove an elusive mystery, one which Betty Page finds herself hard-pressed to solve. So this is, remember, Betty Page is actually a spy.
Ah, yes.
The whole being a pinup cover girl kind of thing.
It's a cover.
Just sort of a ruse so that she could go places.
Okay.
She'd go places and be unnoticed, quote unquote. Like she was supposed to be there, but she was actually there spying on people.
Mm.
There was a Jean-Claude Van Damme series that's on Amazon that's very similar in the mindset of that.
Well, and now in this book, Stephen Mooney has taken Betty Page and basically made her Buffy.
Okay.
All right.
So she's just killing all sorts of supernatural things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or she's the dudes from Supernatural.
Does she have an awesome car?
No.
Okay.
But she's Betty Page, so I wouldn't imagine she needs one.
Fair enough. You mentioned Supernatural. I'm thinking awesome vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. So also out from Dynamite this week is Red Sonja Black, White, and Red.
Ah.
These companies just keep coming up with these different color schemes for different books.
Well, so it really started at DC, as best I can remember. And it started with Batman Black and White. It's what color more do you need more colors to tell a Batman story than black and white? And the answer is no. Right? Then it was Superman Red and Blue. Can you tell Superman stories with only red and shades of blue? Probably. Absolutely.
Wasn't there a Harley Quinn one too?
Harley Quinn Red and Black.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You've also had
the Wolverine one.
Huh?
The Wolverine one.
I don't remember there being a Wolverine one, but there's also a Wonder Woman one.
I think it was white. Well, I think it was something in red.
I don't remember. They had Captain America Red, White, and Blue. They've had some other kind of stuff like that. But so Red Sonja Black, White, and Red these are grayscale Red Sonja covers or Red Sonja stories, but the blood is red.
Mm.
It's a really stark contrast, right? When there's actual blood in the scene, the blood is red.
Right.
I think it's a cool way to tell a story. My friend Seth the Moose is really great at black and white art with one additional color, kind of as a highlight.
So her hair's not red; it's just the blood.
Thank you, Joel. Wolverine, Red, White, and Blood.
There you go. I knew it was out there.
It is my understanding that only the blood is red.
Okay.
Dynamite proudly presents a prestige project by the world's greatest storytellers. Red Sonja like you've never seen her before. All presented in beautiful black, white, and red. Kurt Busiek of Astro City and Benjamin Dewey of King and Black Namor take you to the mountains of night, a foreboding haunt where the she-devil with a sword seeks a precious, priceless item. Amanda Diebert, Wonder Woman, and Kat Staggs of Smallville wind you through a mysterious adventure of Crimson and Ebony, And Mark Russell of Red Sonja and Bob Q of Red Sonja return to put their final stamp on their classic Red Sonja series with a coda that will leave you breathless.
I like it.
Let's take a drink. Figure out to stop me from coughing.
Yes. I was about to say, you all right over there?
We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. So Red Sonja, Black, White, and Red. Cool concept. Great way to tell a Red Sonja story, in my opinion.
Yeah. People love
All
Red
right.
Sonja.
Let's hit some other stuff. This is this is God Killer, Tomorrow's Ashes. This is not going to spend a ton of time on this one. It's from Black Mass Comics. It's a continuation of their God Killer saga. So if you've not read the first parts, maybe go back and read that. But this continues that story from where it left off with a beautiful new art style and new writer.
I like the cover.
Yeah, trying to get us back on track here a little bit. We'll talk about this guy because I'm sure this will get us off on a tangent. Masters of the Universe Revelation.
All right.
The Power of Grayskull. Not even the right show. Where's Tigra? Where's the Thundercats? Also, where is Jay? It's written by Silent Bob. Where is Jay? Is there a movies in this book?
There should be.
All right, written by Kevin Smith, Rob David, Tim Sheridan, art by Mindy Lee, Stepan Sejic, Dave Stewart, Mike Mignola, Alex Ross, Dave Wilkins, and David Nakayama. Following a vicious Orlax attack on his father, King Randor, He-Man learns the creature is linked to the origin of the Sword of Power. To save Randor and put an end to the chaos, He-Man embarks on an epic journey that pits him against his longtime foes, Skeletor and Evil Lyn, and sees Teela take the reins of a powerful legacy. The official prequel to the upcoming Netflix show, variant covers by Mike Mignola.
Oh, well, I mean, you had me at He-Man Masters Universe Revelation. Now you just dropped a Mike Mignola cover on me. I'm just like, I need it all. Apparently, we're going to get some history of, I believe, it's the descendant of He-Man and King Randor. So I believe it's Grayskull, Lord Grayskull. So we're going to get to find out how Castle Grayskull became Castle Grayskull in this book.
I'll be honest. I look at this cover and I just in my head here, hey.
What's going on?
That internet meme has ruined He-Man, I swear.
I'm sorry. I think of the commercial where Skeletor and He-Man do the dirty dancing routine.
Okay, yes. Headcanon accepted and replaced. So we're good now. I've had the time of my life. But no, I think it's great that they're doing a prequel to the forthcoming series. Shock of shocks, I did not watch He-Man when it was originally on.
Me neither,
I was
actually.
a little young.
I watched some of it. I'm not going to say I ever watched the whole thing. I do remember one particular episode where Teela finds out that her mother is a sorceress. And then they literally do like a brain wipe. And it's just like, you will now not remember this until a later time when you can take the power of the sorceress into be in possession and take over my job. So
what year did He-Man debut?
Oh, God.
His television debut. So here's the deal. I didn't watch it because it ended 3 years before I was born. Reruns continued to air in syndication until at which point I was born. USA re-aired it until 1990, so I would have been 2. So maybe I remember a little bit of He-Man, but not much. I was a Turtles kid. But I do remember that it would occasionally be on like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network between Ninja Turtles and Real Ghostbusters. So I really wasn't that into it, but I like the idea of getting backstory before getting the new Kevin Smith stories that he's going to tell.
Mm-hmm. I do love that cover. That cover,
that cover is dope.
That's very nice. And I'm honestly, like, I don't have Netflix right now, but I might have to resubscribe just to watch the new upcoming Masters of the Universe because it looks really good.
Do we have a picture of the Mike Mignola cover?
We do. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Mike Mignola, and it's vintage Mike Mignola, but to me, it's not as cool as this one.
Fair enough.
Which is saying something. But I can certainly show it to you.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I get it.
Ooh.
I get that.
It's vintage Mike Mignola.
It's vintage Mike Mignola, but it doesn't.
It doesn't feel He-Man-y.
No, it doesn't.
I'm just gonna keep saying it. I'm pissed there isn't a meme variant where it's just him with his head thrown back. You know, I think somebody could have made a lot of money throwing that out there.
Maybe if we get a blank.
All right. Maybe I'll have somebody draw me one. All right. Let's do Fight Girls #1 from Frank Cho, a book that's finally out. We've been hearing about this book now for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
This is a book that was originally slated to come out and then got COVIDed and then got pushed for other things that need to come out because of time constraints. I just knocked my bottle of water on the ground. 10 hard-as-nails women face off in an ancient contest of champions where the winner truly takes all. The title of Queen of the Galaxy. To win the challenge, each contestant must survive the hazards of the planet's harsh landscape. The ferocious predators on and below the surface, and their fellow contestants. This edition of the contest has a twist. One of the contestants is an infiltrator who has her eye on something bigger than the prize. Who is she and what does she really want? Written, drawn, covers by Frank Cho, colored by Sabine Rich with Mike Diodato variants and Derek Chu variants. To me, this just feels like that scene in Wonder Woman, like where they're all competing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except like with higher stakes and written by Frank Cho.
Which means they're probably going to have a bunch of dinosaurs in it.
Sure. I mean,
it's
dinosaurs.
I mean, it's Frank Cho. You kind of know what you're getting into with Frank Cho.
Right.
Nothing
Right.
against him. He does a very, very specific style. It's terrific looking. It's very it's Frank Cho. It's Frank Cho. So I mean, and he does good work for what it is. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but honestly, Frank Cho does on an artistic style. It's very good. So it's right. Frank Cho. If you like Frank Cho, you'll love this book.
The reason that this book even made my list this week is twofold. One, this is a book that we've been hearing about for a long time. Mm-hmm. They've gone back, they've edited it a couple of times since it was originally slated to be released. They've remastered it a couple of times, and it's Frank Cho teamed up with Axel Alonso again.
That's
as his publisher. So, some of the great stuff that Frank Cho is known for came out with Axel overseeing it. So, this may be a return to a form we haven't seen from Frank in a little while.
Yeah,
I like it.
I've loved those art since like Liberty Meadows, and then eventually, they had him on the Mighty Avengers for a while, and then he's just been all over the place with different things. And I know he did that one book with his own production company out of Image, and so now he's doing this. So I'm game for it.
Right.
I like it.
I wanna give a shout out to Axel. I mean, he's been a good friend for a lot of years and really has done a lot for comics. And AWA is getting stronger and stronger by the week. So shout out to those guys.
Mhm.
Okay. We have 2 indies left, and then we're on to the big 2.
Gotcha.
The B cover does have our dinosaur.
Knew it was coming.
So let's do, this is Battle Cats, number 1. This is a continuation on Mark London's Battle Cats from Mad Cave Studios. Mad Cave has been a great partner for us here at The Experience, so I want to show them as much love as possible. But also, Battle Cats has been super fun since day one. Y'all, this is what Thundercats would be if the people who wrote Thundercats were crazy cat people. After the death of King Emrad III, Valdaria is lost, and a perpetual state of violence has consumed the land. Valdar now sits on the throne, and the Battle Cats are without their leader, Keithian. Now, Queen Astradil has taken charge of a resistance group, and her first order of business, recover the corpse of the fallen king. So, like I said, guys, Battle Cats has been around for a while. It's a story that you probably heard, but this is a continuation. It's Game of Thrones with cats.
Yeah. I was fortunate to pick up the first trade volume of Battle Cats, and I loved it. I was just like, this is really epic. Like it you mentioned Thundercats earlier. It felt like the remake of Thundercats that they did back in like 2011-ish. The Cartoon Network did. The actual grown-up one where you realize that the Thundercats themselves weren't necessarily seen as the good guys around the world around them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lion-O pretty much was told, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best. And then over time, he started going out to the world and realized, like, we're not regarded as the best. We've kind of not been that great to a lot of people around us. So this takes it like 4 steps way further.
Yep. Shout out to them. And then my pick of the week, this is my pick of the week, and we haven't even gotten to the big 2 yet, is No Ghost in Hiroshima, number 1, written by Jim Kruger and J. Luigi Borio, with art by Alberto Rios from Scout Comics. Dr. James Richardson is what I'm going to call him, is racked with guilt because of a mistake he made many years ago. He believes he has unwillingly condemned an innocent soul to eternal suffering and pain. In an attempt to set things right, he has worked for years to invent a way to free this soul from hell. But Dr. Hench Richardson's efforts have stirred demonic attention by those who see this as a way to seize power in hell. Chased by these demons, Dr. Hench Richardson is badly injured and is forced to hand over his discovery to his prized pupil, a medical intern named Dr. Gabriel Oldman, imploring him to deliver the briefcase to an old friend before it's too late. So this is a car chase movie, essentially. It's trying to outrun the demons of hell because they think you're trying to take over and you're just trying to undo bad stuff. I think everybody in the world has bad stuff they'd like to undo. If that bad stuff is sending someone to hell, you're going to have to fight some demons to get them back. We've all seen movies.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
What movie was that? Was that Little Nicky? Trying to think of a movie.
That was a little bit different. Little Nicky was more like the spawn of Satan or something like that. And Adam Sandler's trying to raise him.
No, there's a movie where people keep going to hell and having to bargain with demons to get souls back.
Well,
wasn't that an Amazon show with David Tennant?
I don't know. It's also a Constantine storyline.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
And maybe I'm thinking about the show Constantine. It's entirely possible.
And that's
Maybe.
third place too, but they
Or
have it differently.
Legends of Tomorrow, maybe? I don't know. It'll come to me. But I like the idea of this. I like the idea of running from demons, trying to deliver a briefcase. If Jason Statham is in it, I will revolt. But if he's not, I'm good. There is also a cover by Alberto Rios that's really good. This cover is Zach Bruner. So, all right, that does it for the indies. You can tell that Dan is not here because we've talked about indies for an hour and a half, and I know Peapod is like me, is a big indie guy.
I'm a big a lot of guy. So anything that colors my interests, whether it's indie or the big two, I'm all for it. But the indie is always a lot more fun in my opinion, just because you're supporting the art of someone's pride and joy, and B, it's so off the wall that you got to really enjoy it. So,
yeah, absolutely. So, let's skip the break, unless we need to take a break.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. And let's jump right into to DC with this trade paperback, Justice League Unlimited Girl Power. I threw this one on there because the Justice League Unlimited stuff were great all ages introductions to the Justice League. And this is a great way to bring in young female readers.
Absolutely.
Which is not which is a very underserved part of our market.
Yep.
This is 152 pages for $10.
Wow.
The price point for a lot of these trades that they've been doing for like the Young Justice and the Justice League Unlimited and stuff like that have been really great price points.
Right. 8 action-packed adventures featuring incredible women of the DC universe. When a Justice League mission goes bad, can Supergirl and Mary Marvel step in to save the day? Meanwhile, Wonder Woman battles the Cheetah while Natasha Irons takes on a robot attack. And then it's the battle of the sexes when Wonder Woman's Amazon sisters suddenly turn against man's world. Collects Adventures in the DC Universe 3 through 6, number 9, Justice League Adventures number 4, Justice League Unlimited 20 through 22, and 35 through 42. Look, I just got asked a couple weeks ago by a friend of mine. Her daughter is 7. For book recommendations, comic books and things for girls her daughter's age, and I struggled. Because there aren't a lot. I wound up pointing them at a great Greg Pak book called The Princess Who Saved Herself, which is based on a Jonathan Colton song, which was a Kickstarter. Like, it's a whole thing to get to this book. But this is another great book that I'm going to send her way, because while her daughter might not be quite old enough to fully read and understand the stories, it's enough to see the characters she likes on the page and get those kind of stories in her vernacular. Also, and I'm going to throw this out there, freaking Mary Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, what? They don't do Mary Marvel stories anymore. They try to avoid Mary Marvel. In the Shazam movie, they called her Mary Shazam.
Oh, did they really?
Well, then that was in the original cast list. She was Mary Shazam. In the credits, it's Superhero Mary.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason for that?
Because you don't want to confuse the normal watcher of Shazam when something is named as Marvel in DC.
Yeah. Well, also there were use of the word connotations in terms of trademark. There was never any confusion of calling Shazam Captain Marvel.
Right.
Or calling all the other ones Marvels. Shazam and all the little Marvels. Like, it's just, it kind of, you get into this weird kind of legally gray area.
Right.
And so it's easier to call her Mary Shazam. Or Superhero Mary. So we'll see.
They could have just renamed her MM at that point.
Like I said, I don't sit in these meetings. Will, they don't invite me. I would have told them maybe not to make some movies if they had invited me and make more Shazam movies. Just so I get to go Shazam.
Shazam!
Well, golly, Sergeant Carter. All right. That is a reference that I'm entirely too young to be able to make.
But it worked.
Well, when that movie was coming out, I was going, the Shazam movie or Shazam or Shazbot, because Shazbot. Let's come up here. Swampy.
Yeah, Swamp Thing.
Swampy 5 of 10, written by Ram V.
So
tired of hearing me talk about Ram V? Well, go keep happening.
So is Alec Holland Swamp Thing right now in the books or no?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's a different person.
Yes.
It's a character called Levi Kamei.
Bless you. Why?
It's not the Swamp Thing Pod.
Oh. So it's
new
a new
knowledge and powers gained from the green, and yet lonelier than ever, Levi Kamei is pulled once more into service as the avatar of the green is summoned by primal forces to the city of London, where old ideas lie buried, slowly leaching into the reality above. The scars of old wars and the damages of past ideologies resurface as the Swamp Thing must team up with an old trench-coated acquaintance and his new protege to save the present from the atrocities of our past.
Wait, Constantine has a protege, or is Swamp Thing has a protege? And they're talking about this new guy.
Constantine has a new protege.
What?
So remember, Rom has taken the mantle of Swamp Thing and moved it around a little.
Yes.
It's not that Swamp Thing is one person.
No.
It's that Swamp Thing is a thing.
Yes.
That has many hosts.
Well, it goes back to the old not Alec Holland, but it goes to the old when Swamp Thing was first created, that the idea of Swamp Thing is a being that thinks it's Alec Holland. Right. Which I love that idea. That it was when the New 52 happened, Alec Holland fully embraced what Swamp Thing was and became the Swamp Thing. Sure. So when things have changed over the DC universe, the idea is Alec Holland still not the Swamp Thing, is still the creature that thinks it's Alec Holland. It's been until recently with this new infinite frontier, future state, whatever you want to call it, that Swamp Thing is back to the idea of it is a title. It is someone who has the mantle and the protection of the green. Right. So that's what it is. I like that it's that. I will be saying that I'm a terrible Swamp Thing fan. I haven't read the new one yet, but I'm interested in catching up.
I will say this: what sold me on this series was when Ram took Swamp Thing to India.
Oh, I love it.
And Swamp Thing in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Is a very interesting sort of place to put it. So, but this is written by Ram V, art by John McCrae, cover by Mike Perkins, with a variant by Brian Boland.
Interesting.
A Brian Boland cover? Wow. Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's here, let me pull it up here. It's Brian Boland.
The suspense is killing me.
I understand. Boom.
Oh, wow. I like that a lot.
Same.
Kyle was not wrong when he said it's definitely Brian Boland.
That's definitely Brian Boland, but at the same time, wow, that is gorgeous.
It's beautiful and horrifying at the same time.
And that's what Swamp Thing is.
Yep. It's a beautiful tragedy.
100%.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's rad. I might have to pick up that one that's collected in trade.
I think the thing I love more than anything is not just the scaly hands, but the tendrils that are crawling through the skull and through the crown and the intermingling. Like, why is he doing this? What's going on? So it makes me want to go pick the book up.
Yeah, and what I also love about like when people portray the Swamp Thing, when they go into different like areas of the world, and there's different like greenery everywhere, when the Swamp Thing like kind of teleports his body into that part of the country or world or whatnot, and he becomes the same style of green that it is. Like I loved back in the of the run of oh man, why am I blanking on names today? Alan Alan Moore. That when he was on the weird planet, and he had to connect with some kind of plant life, and it was all like this weird alien plant life, and it was all like blue and stuff. I love that. I love that idea. That when artists,
I know you so well.
Yes.
That I knew what you were thinking.
Yes. And that's why we're friends.
So, yes. So we have about 15 minutes left, and we have 6 books to get through.
We can do it.
Let's get it.
So some of these we're going to fly through only because some of them we don't need to take a ton of time on.
Okay.
Like The Last House or The Nice House on the Lake, #2. Tinian. Tinian. Do I need to say more? Tinian.
Titty, so hot right now.
Also, this was great. From DC Comics to have a book that is just absolutely out there and off of left field is super fun. And is super refreshing.
Yes.
Also from DC Comics, this is Justice League Infinity #1. So this is J.M. DeMatteis, James Tucker, artist Ethan Beavers, Francis Manapul covers. The Cracked Mirror from Justice League Unlimited producer James Tucker, who produced the cartoons, the other Justice League Unlimited stuff. And series writer J.M. DeMatteis comes an all-new season starring the world's greatest heroes. There is a being wandering the universe searching for its true power, but what it finds out on the farthest edges of the cosmos will change not just our lives, but many. Meanwhile, the war for the throne of Apocalypse arrives on Earth, and the true ruler will only be decided one way: who can destroy the Justice League?
I think that's what I read recently is Darkseid is in all of the DC books right now. Like all of them.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Not every DC book, but most of them.
He's in a lot of it right now. He's like the big bad in all of it right now.
Right, like he's not in the next book we're going to talk about, but he's in most of them.
Yeah.
Next book, Crush and Lobo #2. If you're Lobo's daughter, what does that parent-teacher conference look like? That's not what this book is. Remember, this is exploring Crush's life, her love life, her backstory, her everything that's going on, and her dad is freaking Lobo. So if there's anything Crush knows, it's that traveling through space is a great time to load up on coffee, catch up on murder podcasts, and definitely not get sucked into a spiral of depression while reflecting on your meet cute with the ex-girlfriend who just dumped you.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. When Crush's trusty travel mug runs dry, she pit stops for caffeine and puts Lobo's daughter face to face with an old enemy whose vicious revenge could put an end to her journey when it's only just barely begun. Tick-tock, Crush, your father's waiting. So I like the fact that they're giving Lobo some depth, even if Lobo's depth has always just been smash it harder.
Yes.
All right. Now we can spend some time on some Marvel books, including Extreme Carnage Alpha.
Extreme.
Right.
Did they just wrap up a whole symbiote thing with King Black?
They did just wrap up a whole symbiote thing with King and Black.
And now we got more symbiotes?
But it's not that.
Oh, okay.
Just remember, we've got Let There Be Carnage coming out soon. We got to keep that symbiote train rolling.
And I know that's Agent Anti-Venom, which I think that's really cool. I love the idea of the Anti-Venom, even though it's the most unoriginal name. But I love the idea of it.
Yeah. As my computer continues to freak out because I got a text about a funeral. By the way, Peapod, we need to talk about a funeral.
Oh no.
No, it's cool. I'm hoping to send you as my what's the word I'm looking for? Proxy.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yes.
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 Okay. So the website I used for this information has just completely crashed out. Here we go. Extreme Carnage Alpha. Violence runs in the family as the dust continues to settle after the species redefining King and Black saga. Eddie Brock and his son Dylan won't be the only ones learning to adjust to the new normal. Collectively called the Life Foundation, symbiotes Scream, Fag, Riot, Lasher, and Agony have tried to reconcile the sometimes noble intentions of their hosts with their often bloodthirsty impulses. But the Life Foundation symbiotes aren't the only one with a part to play in this story, and they aren't the only symbiotes who found themselves reinvented after King and Black. They have an older sibling who may be reinvented in his own right, Carnage.
Oh.
Yes. So this is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Manuel Garcia. Philip Kennedy Johnson is amazing and on fire right now. But this is a one-shot. It's continued in Extreme Carnage Scream #1. The symbiotic story of the summer starts here. I love Agent Anti-Venom.
Yeah, me too. I love the idea when they did Agent Venom, and then the things happen in King Black, and now it's Agent Anti-Venom. I think it's rad. I think it's really cool.
Well, but Agent Venom was Flash Thompson, right?
Correct. Yes.
So now you've got Flash Thompson and Eddie Brock both as agents.
As Venom and Anti-Venom.
Venom, huh?
As Venom and Anti-Venom.
Right. I want Venom black and white, where it's Anti-Venom and where it's Agent Anti-Venom and Agent Venom teaming up to like hunt down rogue symbiotes.
Yeah.
That would be boss. Somebody let me write that. I'm not a writer. I'll have someone else ghost it.
Let's go.
Let's get Donnie Cates to ghost it.
Yeah, might as well. He's not doing anything.
He's not busy. So I'm excited for. I like Carnage. I like Carnage better than I like Venom.
You know,
I'm not excited for the Carnage movie, but I like Carnage better than I like Venom. So having a Carnage story feels fun.
You know what? The as much as it seems very 90s that we're doing a lot of symbiotes and a lot of symbiote heavy stuff, I always found it fascinating about the symbiotes, and also one of my favorite Spider-Man series to this day, and holds a very special place in my heart, even though it was a convoluted mess, was the Maximum Clonage saga, and the whole clone saga of Spider-Man. That holds a very very special place in my heart, and I love Ben Reilly as the Scarlet Spider, and there's something about it. So like re-upping the symbiote world. For modern times, I'm for it.
If rumors be believed, you're getting Ben Reilly back in September.
Yes, that's what I've read too.
So he ain't fully gone away yet.
No.
He's coming back.
Yeah. So, Ben Reilly. Venom.
Yeah, Ben Reilly. All right, Venom. Yeah, symbiotes.
My brain just did that whole thing where you hear the Windows start sound in the back of your head. Right. All right. Let's do this one because we'll end with a #1 that I think everybody is excited for, but we'll start with the prelude to the Sinister War, ASM 70 by Nick Spencer.
Sinister War.
Prelude to the Sinister War. The Sinister War turns Spidey's life upside down. But the fact that King's Ransom and Chameleon Conspiracy already did that might give you an idea of how hard this is going to be for Peter Parker. This is Legacy number 871, Sinister War Prelude. Writer Nick Spencer, art Federico Vincentini, with colors by Alex Sinclair. There's a John Dell variant that's cool. Mark Bagley did covers.
It's a Mark Bagley.
There's a Peach Momoko variant that, I'm gonna be honest, looks like an 8-year-old drew. I don't want to be mean, but it's bad. Let me show you.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I don't want to say anything bad about anybody or anything, but to me, this feels poorly thought out.
That's not that bad.
I say it looks like a Peach Momoko cover.
Yeah, but like
That doesn't look
to
bad.
me, it looks like you gave a child a gifted child a blank and said, "Draw me a Green Goblin."
And it looks like Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I expect more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Especially when you've got a Mark Bagley cover.
Yeah.
But as busy as Peach Momoko is, I'm pretty sure because she's doing a lot right now, isn't she? Like art-wise, cover-wise, book-wise.
I don't know.
Okay.
But so yeah, guys, remember we're leading into the Sinister Six. So in this book, you've got Kurt Connors, you got Doc Ock, you've got Electro, you've got Kraven, you've got the Lizard, you've got Martha Connors' Lizard, you've got the Lizard Jr. Billy Connors.
How many lizards are there now?
3. There's Kurt.
When did that happen?
Martha and Billy. You also
Everybody
have
is a lizard.
So you've got the whole of the Sinister Six here, guys. And Peter Parker versus the Sinister Six in the Sinister War.
Do we still have the daughter of Kraven that was introduced in that McFarlane stuff way back in the day?
Not in this particular iteration, but that doesn't mean it won't happen during the war. This particular issue, I've kind of given you the rundown.
Fair enough.
All right, then the last book for this week. Everybody hold on to your butts.
Okay.
Jerry
Yes.
Duggan's X-Men #1.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
The X-Men, they're so hot right now.
And Peapod, we've talked about this. I could not have cared less about the X-Men 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, my buddy who like hates modern comics is in awe of what Jonathan Hickman is doing in the X-Men books.
Right. Couldn't have been bothered to care.
I have the first trade right next to me, and I have not found time to read it. And all I know is they colonized Mars, which is red, and then they called it the center of the universe. I'm like, that's some baller stuff right there.
Written by Jerry Duggan, who we all know as a comic book writer, but before that he was a comedian. So remember that. These X-Men are fearless. The heroes of Krakoa are here to save the planet. Things might be complicated between the nation of Krakoa and the rest of the world, but to the X-Men, things are simple. You do what's right, you protect those who need protecting, and you save the world we all share. Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Sunfire, Rogue, Wolverine, Cinch, and Polaris are the chosen champions of mutant kind, and they will not shrink from any battle for their home planet. Writer Jerry Duggan, who wrote Marauders, Deadpool, and Uncanny Avenger, reteams with superstar artist Pepe Larraz, who did House of X, X of Swords, Planet-Sized X-Men, to chart the course for the X-Men in the world of the Reign of X. Important to note, in this book, Jonathan Hickman serves the role of Other, which basically means Lord and Overseer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
This exists in that world that he is overseeing in the Marvel Universe. So it's not separate from the other House of X, X of X, Triple X, X.
X marks the spot.
Yes.
Wait, Triple X is Ice Cube in this one?
No, but
Hell yeah, I'm in.
So this is, another story in that world that he's overseeing. But you've got Jerry Duggan, you've got Pepe Larraz, you've got variants from Patrick Gleason, Tyler Kirkham, Matt Wilson, Chris Sotomayor, Scotty Young, R.B. Silva, Nick Bradshaw, J. Scott Campbell, Rob Liefeld, Clayton Crane, Greg Horn, Russell Dauterman, Mike Mayhew, Jay Anacleto. Like, there are, I'm going to guess, somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 covers.
That sounds about right. Sounds like a Marvel #1.
Well, no, a lot of these, and I will say this for this book, a number of these are store exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
This is a book that people knew where they were getting, and they knew where they were heading. So your LCS, or if you're into that kind of stuff, check LCSs around you. But there are also a huge number of ratio variants and things like that. So just check that out. Some of these are gorgeous. Some of these are also. This is a 1 in 25 that I'm gonna pull up here, just because I want to. Because I think this is the coolest cover of the week.
Is the Wolverine still Laura?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I think this is the coolest cover of the week.
That's
a nice cover. Well, give me a second.
I'm guessing she's just lost the title X-23 completely.
Yes.
Yeah, she's Wolverine. She's just Wolverine now.
She is Wolverine now. So
Logan's
not Wolverine anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, whatever.
I think this is the coolest cover of the week.
Yep.
There is a Peach Momoko, but not even gonna.
We'll pull it up anyway. I want to see it.
I'd have to go through. I had this one saved off because this is the one I ordered. To find, I'd have to go through all of the covers and find the Peach Momoko.
We got somebody asking about Daredevil.
We did, and so let's real quick. I don't know exactly what you were asking. Greetings, Brazil.
Wow.
Persiog 91. Hey guys, what will happen with Daredevil? Well, right now it's Elektra, and Daredevil is still in jail.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's in jail.
If we're talking about in the cinematic universe, I don't trust Kevin Feige any further than I can throw him, but that's more than I can say for the people who make DC movies. So, it's anybody's guess. I would like to see him come back in Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they're going to bring him back, that's where they'll bring him back in the cinematic universe. But right now, Daredevil is sitting in jail, and the mantle is being held by Elektra, which is a fine place for it to be because I trust Chip Zdarsky more than I trust Kevin Feige.
Well, they are claiming that he may show up in the Spider-Man movie as a way to kind of legally get him out of the whole situation with the confession from Mysterio.
Mm.
Because they're saying Charlie Cox has been cast as a lawyer for Peter. So he may not necessarily be Daredevil in the movie. He may just be Matt Murdock. But again, it's just rumor.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I will come on the air and I will skewer every single person if that happens. So, all right. So we are out of time. But before we leave, the Peapods, where can people follow you and support the things?
If you like music and you want to find your next favorite artist, go check out the On the Radar podcast. Follow us on all social media platforms at On the Radar PC and find all of our links and where you can listen to ontheradarpc.com. New episodes practically coming out on a weekly basis. So go check that out. And if you are into pro wrestling and need something independent from the big two of WWE and AEW, might I recommend Ruthless Pro Wrestling. It's based out of right here in the Midwest. If you like great wrestling, but also like a lot of the death matches, this is a place for you. Check us out, Ruthless Pro Official on Facebook and Ruthless Pro 419 on Twitter and Instagram. And check out all of our events on IWTV, Independent Wrestling Television.
Okay. Will Holland. Where can people support you, follow you, do the things?
Look me up on Amazon. I do books and stuff, but also Conversations About ... is the podcast that I do. It's always better to look it up in parentheses because that's the way to find it easier. And you can, support that way as well by just listening to episodes.
There you go. And then I, of course, am here. I'm always here. Follow the experience on the Tickety Talks at @the_EXP1. Follow us on Instagram at @the_EXP1. I am Kyle. Don't follow me on things. But we will be back next week with In Stores This Week. Well, I may be here. Dan will definitely be here. And we will see everybody much, much later. Have a good week. Visit your local comic shop, comicshoplocator.com to find a comic shop near you. Yeah. Did I forget anything?
Buy comics.
Yeah, buy more comics.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.